Hi everyone, I'm Christopher Dormer, proud to be the Superintendent of Schools here in the Norristown Area School District. Welcome to this month's edition of Superintendent's Corner. Let's start as we do each month with district news for the end of May 2022. We're coming to a close of the 2021-2022 school year, and we're so excited to finish our year strong, but also to start our preparations for next year. I'm proud to share with everybody that our final budget for next school year, the 2022-23 school year, has been adopted by our school board. This budget is important and significant for our students, our staff, and our taxpayers. Our board has approved a $179 million budget that includes a 0% tax increase for the second consecutive year. With increased homestead exclusion funds that are coming to us from the Commonwealth, homeowners will actually see a decrease in their tax bill for the first time ever. The addition of 25 new contracted positions to support our instructional program is a boon for our students. We'll be adding 7 new regular education teachers, 6 new reading specialists, which will serve our elementary schools, 2 additional school psychologists, 4 special education teachers, 5 paraprofessionals to support our English language learners, and a new school safety and security coordinator. Norristown Area School District, despite this great budget, 0% tax increase, 25 new positions, still is underfunded, and we still need to advocate for increased funding from Harrisburg. We're hopeful, and we continue to advocate with our lawmakers, that we'll see some additional funds so that we can continue the investment in our programs, continue to bring more resources for our students, and continue to take care of our taxpayers this year and in the years to come. My second announcement in district news is an exciting announcement. This summer we invite families to read Lola Levine Is Not Mean by Monica Brown. Every child in grades kindergarten through 4th grade will be receiving a complimentary copy of the book. The first of a chapter series, this story is about a young girl named Lola who is both Peruvian and Jewish. We will read about Lola's attempts to fit in with her peers at school and on the soccer field. Throughout the book, we will explore the themes of friendship, family heritage, and soccer, with humor sprinkled throughout the story. Our goals with the One District, One Book initiative are twofold. First, we like to create a shared reading experience that brings together our entire community. Starting on June 13th, we will announce a chapter of the week on the NASD website under the Parent tab, as well as on our social media. We encourage you to read the chapter together as a family, and we will offer a video read aloud of the chapter featuring an NASD staff member. At the end of each week, families may answer trivia questions about that week's chapter that will be shared via a Google form on all of our NASD social media outlets. Each household can work together to submit 1 entry per week. Each trivia entry will, with 7 out of 10 correct, will be entered into a raffle drawing and will take place this upcoming September, where students will have the chance to win awesome prizes. Our second goal with this initiative is for our elementary families to take the time to enjoy reading together this summer. Reading aloud to children has been shown to help improve student listening comprehension, vocabulary, fluency, and the development of a positive attitude towards reading. In addition to supporting our students in becoming stronger readers, we hope that reading together will be a happy, bonding experience for your family. Additional information will be shared as we close out school. Please look to get your copy of Lola Levine Isn't Mean, and we hope all of our families will participate. We're going to transition to the interview segment of Superintendent's Corner. As we wrap up this school year, we are proud to share members of our Business and Technology Services Department who will share their roles and their importance to helping the successful operation of our school district. As we wrap up the current 2021-22 school year, our district administration prepares all of our work in summertime. The success of our schools that our students and families get to see in front in the classrooms is supported by behind-the-scenes work of our administrative team, and much of that work occurs over the summer. So today we want to highlight our budget process and our investment in technology. So much of those things that, again, you may not know about in the classrooms, but support our students, our staff, and our families every single day. I'm pleased today to be joined by our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Anne Rohricht, our Assistant Business Manager, Ms. Kendra Leib, and our Director of Technology Services, Mr. Leo Desrosiers. So welcome to Superintendent's Corner, and thanks for joining me today. So just to, so that our community gets to know you a little bit, I'll just ask all of you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, how long you've been with the district, how many years you've been in public education, why you do what you do, and why Norristown. And Anne is, I think, the most senior member of our administrative staff. Longest time with the district. We'll start with you. So thanks for joining us today for Superintendent's Corner.
Sure, so thanks for having me. I've been with the district since 1990. Struggle with, like, should I say that out loud? But honestly, I'm very proud. I've had a long career at Norristown. Started right out of college as a staff accountant, worked my way up. It's become a place that I love and a place that I call home.
Yeah, and just tell ours a little bit about your role as our Chief Financial Officer.
Sure. So as Chief Financial Officer, I oversee all of the traditional business operations. Then I also oversee operations, which is custodial, maintenance, transportation, food service, and then some of the things that I think people don't think of, like debt management, capital planning, overseeing and coordinating the activity of the tax collectors is a big one, which is right around the corner. And I think just handling a lot of the support side of the house.
No, and I think, and thank you for sharing all that. As I said, so many of those important things, like making sure we have money to pay our bills, pay our staff, that our operations team has our buildings ready to go, that people maybe don't think about it takes to run a school, really falls under your supervision. So
that's my every day.
That is your every day. We appreciate all you do. Kendra.
So I've been at Norristown for about a year and a half. I came from Michigan Public Schools, where I was there for 10 years. So total, I'm going into my 12th year in public schools. I started right out of college. I actually went to college to be a teacher, and then I changed my mind. I struggled outside of college to try to figure out like what I wanted to do other than teaching after that came up. So I tried to find an area that every business has. Every business needs money to operate. So I went into business and accounting. And then once I graduated, trying to find a job, it was 2008, so it was during the recession. And I tried to find a place where I could stay that businesses weren't going to have a lot of turnover. And during that time, that was a big conversational piece about, if you're a mom and pop shop, will that be around? So hospitals and schools, I was like, those are always going to be around. So I just went into schools.
Excellent. And it's great that although you didn't pursue your initial goal to become a teacher, you're still serving our kids, but like we said, kind of in a less forward-facing way. So
I am.
Thanks.
Thanks. My family is strong in education. My mom was a superintendent secretary. My brother is a math teacher. So I followed along, but in a different way.
And it sounds like it's in your DNA to try to help kids any way that you can. So thanks so much. Leo, tell us a little bit about technology services and yourself.
Yep, so I've been with the Norristown School District for, I think this is my 19th year. I joined the district actually while still in college. My first 2 years I worked at North Monaco Technical Career Center, so Northern Tech. Worked there for a couple of years before moving here. In fact, it was my old computer science teacher at the tech school that worked for Norristown that originally gave my recommendation to say, hey, there's an opening over here, why don't you come on over? And to say that was back in 2004, I believe. And then I've been here ever since in about 5, 6 different positions and different roles, from help desk technician, web developer, server administrator, supervisor, and now director.
Excellent. I think, again, what a success story for you. Again, really starting at almost an entry level with us and just growing and developing. And again, and you think about over those 19 years, how much technology has changed. And again, it's just, I think it's a testament to you that you not only stuck with us, but have helped us along our technology journey. And I think we've really seen that accelerate over the past couple of years pretty significantly to the benefit of our kids. And again, people probably don't even know all the things that went into getting Chromebooks in our hands. So we appreciate you and all your dedication to the district. So just, a little bit more specifics from each of you in your roles, and again, this idea of everything that goes on behind the scenes that ultimately benefits our kids. And as our Chief Financial Officer, you are responsible for our budget development each year. And we work very closely in trying to balance two sometimes competing set of priorities. How do we benefit our kids by growing our program? But how do we, because so much of our revenue comes from our local taxpayers, to not overtax them and crush them because those property taxes are our main source of revenue. Can you share with us what you feel are the most important considerations and goals when we have to say, here's our budget that we ultimately are going to spend to try to deliver and run the school district each year?
Sure. So overwhelmingly, the largest challenge is balancing those competing interests. I mean, I talk to taxpayers all the time, and I have such empathy for them. And to try to get them to understand that the system in Pennsylvania is just inherently flawed is very difficult when they're looking at a tax bill that they're struggling to figure out how to pay. So, always keeping both priorities in mind and balanced is very, very difficult. This year, we tried very hard, out of the gate in January to set 3 very ambitious goals. To not have a tax increase, to increase student opportunities by increasing staff and programming, so important coming out of the pandemic. And then to really make sure that our school district's financial position was not harmed and that we are making sure that we are on sound financial foot for the next decade, hopefully. It worked, every decision, every budget model that we ran was always with those 3 goals in mind, and we were successful. I mean, for the 2nd year in a row, we're not having a tax increase. Amazing, almost unheard of.
Such a win for our community.
Such a win for our community. But also we have this huge win for our families and our students by adding 25 positions. I can remember a decade ago where we were cutting 20 positions. To come full circle and be able to reinvest through our budget adoption is incredible. It's something we should all just be so thankful and proud of. But when you go back to, goals, I think that I always have a few more goals in mind, and that's, increasing awareness about the challenges in Pennsylvania. Try to engage more community members so that we have a louder voice and increased advocacy opportunities with our elected officials. And then I think for me, one of my, first and foremost goals is always to be transparent. We put more budget and financial information on our website than most of our neighboring districts. And I think it's just because I have this overwhelming sense of need to make sure people understand why the taxes are so high. That if they, and hopefully some do, feel the need to gather more information or to better understand the finances, they can go to our website. They can not only get numbers, but they can get narratives, they can get PowerPoints, they can get meeting minutes, presentations, and lots of information to help answer some of the questions that they have, and hopefully, again, to kind of drive advocacy to change it and to fix what's going on in a very flawed system.
And Anne, I appreciate all your efforts and all the years we've worked together for that level of transparency, and that I think working so closely with you, there is a gravity that we feel of responsibility to our taxpayers.
There is.
That, listen, it is their money. It is not ours that we spend frivolously. And again, every decision is well thought out. It is purposeful towards trying to keep people in their homes. But also, listen, our kids, because we are an underfunded school district, we have a responsibility to try to provide more for them. And I think we did a great job just a couple weeks ago under your leadership with the budget forum that we facilitated, and just put a plug out there for anyone that's watching this. Please make sure you go to the website, go to our YouTube channel and watch it. It was about an hour and a half, but I think, again, it's really informative of all of the budget pressures we have. And I think after you watch that and you realize what we delivered this year, I think everyone in this community should really feel great about a really great budget and investment, again, to all stakeholders in our community. So thank you.
Sure.
Kendra, your role as assistant business manager, and really, that right hand to Anne, is really, when we just talked about passing a responsible budget for our kids, for our taxpayers. And I think we've really invested in, how can we be more efficient? How can we not spend money, but also, do things, as I like to frame a lot, better, smarter, and faster, better processes, better operations. You've taken the lead on many new initiatives in that area. Can you talk about some of those processes that have allowed us to just work better that also haven't resulted in us having to spend more money to get better outcomes?
Right. So when I first started, our focus was time clocks. The custodians had moved to the time clocks, grounds, maintenance, and we were still virtual with the pandemic, but we wanted to be prepared for as soon as we were back in school to have food service and paras and secretaries all using a time clock. And the reason behind that is to go paperless. My payroll, grants, and accounts payable all report to me, and my focus in the last year and a half has been payroll and learning the intricacies of payroll and trying to assist her do her job better, faster, smarter. And the overwhelming majority of paper timesheets that then had to be hand entered. And now we just upload a file. So it's definitely made that process faster, smarter, and then less paper. So while going through that process, we kind of led into what else are we doing on paper? What else can we transfer to this electronic method? And we found this Informed K-12, which is an online workflow software. And we started with paper timesheets that couldn't be time clocks, and then we put on class coverage sheets and accounts payable check requests. So every piece of paper form that went through the business office is now an electronic form. So we're saving the costs on not printing the papers, but the software itself does cost money. But in the end, the amount of time that we were spending on uploading or hand typing all of those things in is now uploadable. So it has a trade-off in the end.
And I appreciate there's not only the physical cost savings, as you talked about, less paper, less ink cartridges, because they've gotten so out of control expensive, but that we look at person's time as an asset, as a resource, that we need a better efficiency there, that we can't have our payroll manager taking an hour of her time, and you could quantify that in terms of an hour of her time of her salary costs this much to do, like you said, something that could be uploaded literally in half a second. Mm-hmm. And she's probably going to take half an hour to manually take a piece of paper and get that into a computer system. So, no, I just appreciate, again, the really holistic look at not only the tangible operational efficiency, but again, just the value that we put on people's time and their value in terms of how they're spending their time as well.
Yes.
That's great. Thanks for that. Leo, as our Director of Technology Services, you came up the chain, you've seen we have been really trying to prioritize technology and leveraging technology, not only for the back-end systems that Kendra talked about, but front-end. How do we enhance teaching and learning with technology? In the past couple of years, we've seen every student being issued their own Chromebook via the school district, and classroom technology that helps drive instruction. So just asking you to share with our viewers and our community, what factors do you find most important when you decide what we want to implement, and when we make a decision to update technology, what are those key factors in deciding what we're going to do, when, and how?
That's a good question. Because when it comes to a lot of our tech, I've seen a lot of different shifts and moves over the years. We've also tried a lot of things as far as through grants and other opportunities. The major couple points that we always look at, the first one's probably around industry adoption. So usually we're not going to be at the tail end of a service or at the leading edge of a service because it'll be hard to support, which leads into the second point, our ability to support. We had the opportunity to test the iPads at Gottwalls Elementary through a grant with Apple, and one of the major things we learned from that was the repairability of the devices was a large hindrance. So the cost and time to repair the devices where they could offer different educational opportunities, it just didn't make sense for a widespread installation. So like iPads at this point have their use in interventions in other areas where they can be specially used, and then we needed something that would be effective for the students to use, where we could get it to everyone's hands, keep them running, and keep the fleet moving. I know that's something that we can repair and maintenance in the house without having to contract out, spend weeks waiting for things to come back. It's something that I'm proud to say that we do that a lot of our neighboring districts do not. and going on, it's watching the change from just desktop computers to trying some laptops into iPads. We've had some Macs in certain areas of the district, into PROM, into Surface RT tablets. We did not pick that one, and they're gone. So it was an accurate choice at the time. But yeah, looking ahead to see where things are going. I know that looking ahead now, we're looking to enhance the abilities of the Chromebooks for our technology in our art labs and our tech labs to be able to do all the work directly on their devices without needing standalone desktops. And yeah, we're just going to keep looking at new things as they emerge and test them and see how we can implement them and adopt them in scale.
One thing, Leo, I appreciate, and thank you for that kind of look in the window of all those initial considerations when we consider new technology. One of the things that I've always appreciated, as long as I've been with the district, that I think you and your team do exceptionally well. Once you do all the vetting process, you then look before we say we're going to do this. What's the user end experience going to be, whether it be a student, a teacher, an administrator? Because that's so important. It's not just do we have it. It's how are we using it to effectively either make our learning or our work better and more efficient.
Yep. Oh, and I forgot one other pillar, which is a recent pillar in the years here, which is security. It's something we've had to implement. With cybersecurity threats, and school districts have been a very high target of the encryption, lock, and heists, and being held hostage. So that's one thing that we now have to consider, where before it was making sure that no one was changing their grades or their attendance. But now it's trying to keep foreign nations out of our bank accounts and our private information.
And I think it's just another way that we try to keep our students and our families and our staff safe in a way that we don't traditionally think about safety. So appreciate all your attention to all those facets, the safety, the usability, and also the functionality of our technology. So my last question for all of you, and again, I thank you so much for all your work to really support the front end of the house. Budget and efficiency and technology helps us drive, teaching and learning in our classrooms. But as we're bringing the current school year to a close, what's one thing each of you is excited to look ahead to as we start gearing up for August for the open of the 2022-23 school year? Anne, we'll start with you.
So I want to say a couple. Instead
Absolutely.
of one, I want to say a couple.
No, please share.
Only because I just want to make sure that we're kind of advertising the exciting things that are going on. So this summer we have the high school kitchen project. Demo, we just found out today, is going to start June 11th. Moved it up. They're going to start on the weekend. So that is going to be so exciting for the high school students to return to campus to an entirely new space. Then we got playgrounds at the elementaries. They've been working to demo the existing playgrounds this week. I think, again, for elementary families, it's going to be such a plus to come back to see, an investment in playground space. And then the thing I'm probably most excited about is the Nest Express. We're going to have this, converted school bus, meal delivery thing going on. And it's something that during the pandemic, we served so many families meals on a weekly basis, formed such great relationships, and just became so overwhelmingly aware of the need and found a niche way to meet that need. And we're excited to get back out in the community. I miss being out there. I miss seeing our friends and families. I miss serving them, I'll be honest with you. So the Next Express, soaring to you soon.
Awesome, awesome. And I love that we're taking this to the next level where, we did almost 3 million meals from asking people to come to our schools. And I love that you and the team came up with this idea. We're going to soar to you. Yep. And we're going to bring that meal service closer to home. So again, thank you. I'm excited for all those.
I know, we're all going to be on the Nest Express.
It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So, Kendra.
For us next year, again, a couple of things. Our focus is going to be training. So we have 2 new staff members, one that was hired last September and one that was hired in April. And then we're focusing on training. So we want them to be able to get comfortable in their roles, and that leads into the transition of continuing our paperless trend. And more training will provide that opportunity for them to be more paperless, but our focus this next year is going to be accounts payable going paperless. Our focus last year was payroll. This year is going to be accounts payable. We've been trained on these new ways that our software will be able to store those invoices, so we aren't having to print, scan, house file cabinets and boxes full of those papers. So that's our trend for next year.
Awesome, thanks. And Leo, take us home.
All right, I got two. First one is after the initial rush of getting Chromebooks in everybody's hands, back to our initial technology rollout, we're going to return to the K-5-9 device rollout. So every year, the 9th graders will get a new device to keep with them for 4 years. Our 5th graders will get a new device for 4 years, and the kindergartners will get their device after a couple weeks of school that they'll keep with them through elementary. So hopefully get back into that routine and start to stabilize a lot of the distribution and routine. And the second one is the student Wi-Fi at the high school. So we're looking to enable the students to use their personal devices on the Wi-Fi as long as they're in good standing. As of today, I believe we're looking to start piloting it tomorrow through the rest of the year for an official kickoff next year. But
Excellent.
We'll kick the tires this year and get ready for it for next year.
Awesome. And I love the getting back to our plan. You know, with our technology rollout got shifted with the pandemic, but the K-5-9 each year also, you know, for our community makes our one-to-one initiative sustainable.
Yep.
And that is key. That it's not going to be, we're going to get to a point where all of a sudden the Chromebooks are gone. I think, you know, we have a good budget process working with the business office, and again, we have everything on a good cycle now where we're going to be able to sustain that level of one-to-one technology for the future. So, Anne, Kendra, and Leo, I can't thank you enough for joining me for Superintendent's Corner this month. To our community, thank you for spending time getting to know some important key members of our staff that you may not see forward-facing in our schools every day. So we're going to transition to this month's video feature, and as we close out the 2021-22 school year, please enjoy some video highlights of just awesome student opportunities and extracurriculars and celebrations at all of our schools across the district. Please enjoy the video. Wow, I hope you were as excited and blown away by our students and all the exciting video that you just saw as I was. That concludes Superintendent's Corner for this month. And actually, this is going to be our last episode during this school year. We thank you for watching. We encourage you, as always, to visit the district website, to follow us on social media, our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please stay tuned for exciting news all summer long. We're going to have great updates on construction projects and everything that's going on to get us ready for next school year. Once again, this is Chris Dormer, your superintendent. Thanks. Please continue to be NASD proud and continue to exemplify, be the leader.